Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of MLB The Show 19 Dream Cards. This is the series where we talk about all the different cards that we want to see in next year's installment, or technically this year's installment of MLB The Show. You guys leave your comments, let me know which cards you want to see. We talk about 4 cards each video, and there are no rules, there are no restrictions, nothing matters about the cards. Just let me know any players you want to see, and we can just have fun with this series. As you guys can probably tell, this is going live on a Thursday, so Thursday is going to be the new day for this series. No longer are we uploading it on Tuesday. That's just the way it's going to be. Thursdays are for Dream Cards now. Also, really quickly, before you guys start commenting which cards you want to see, make sure you guys go check out the other few episodes that we've already posted of this series, because I'm already seeing some duplicates that people are posting in the comments, because we already talked about those cards in previous videos. So make sure you keep an eye on the other ones to know which ones to comment for in the next one. All right, guys, so we got 4 cards to talk about today. As always, 2 flashbacks, 2 legends, 2 hitters, and 2 pitchers. So we're going to go ahead and get it started with a bang today. We're going to go ahead and get it started with the legend pitcher. I have mentioned before that this is a card that I want to see. Last year, the card that I wanted to see the most was Vladimir Guerrero, and then Vladimir Guerrero was added into the game. So I was so hyped. That was the one guy I wanted. So this year, I want to see pretty much my favorite pitcher of all time. I want to see the guy that I kind of remember growing up watching and just remember how dominant he was. And that guy is none other than the big unit, Randy Johnson. Randy Johnson is one of the best pitchers of all time. He's one of the best left-handed pitchers of all time, if not the overall best lefty ever. You can debate it however you want. I'm just saying he's in the conversation, obviously. He won 4 straight Cy Youngs. He was just insanely good. Now, there are multiple different cards you could go with. You could go with cards from his Seattle years. You could go with cards from his later years, like Impact Veteran, or you can go right in kind of the meat of his career, right in the heart of it, where he was with Arizona. I mean, if you want to go with his 95 season with Seattle, where he won the Cy Young, he finished 6th place in the MVP voting, he had 294 strikeouts with a 2.48 ERA, like, that's a pretty damn good year right there. People would kill to have a year like that, just one. Or you could go with his 2004 season, where he was the Cy Young runner-up, and he had 290 strikeouts with a 2.60 ERA in 245 innings. Or you could just go anywhere from 1999 to 2002, because all 4 of those years he won the Cy Young. He won 4 straight Cy Young awards. That's insane. Like I said, you could go with any one of those years, but the year I'm going to focus on, I think Randy Johnson's best card would be 1999. In 1999, Randy Johnson finished the year with a 2.48 ERA in 271.2 innings pitched. He had 364 strikeouts to only 70 walks. He had a 1.020 whip, 6.9 hits per 9, 1.0 home runs per 9, 2.3 walks per 9, and a 12.1 strikeouts per 9. Obviously, he won the Cy Young. He was an all-star. He finished 15th place in the MVP voting. He started 35 games that year, dude. 35. That's so many. He had 12 complete games. 2 of those were complete game shutouts. And in 1999, he led the league in WAR and WAR for pitchers, so both of them. He led the league in ERA, strikeouts per 9, innings pitched, strikeouts, games started, and complete games. Randy Johnson, no pun intended, was an absolute unit in 1999. That's just the year I would focus on. You could literally go with 2000, 2001, 2002. Any one of those years would be fine. I mean, he won the Cy Young in all of those years, so, they all would be hardware cards. They all would be good. I just feel like 1999 as a whole was pretty damn complete for Randy Johnson. Obviously, if he'd be in the game, he'd probably be an immortal. He would be a 99 overall, but don't really pay too much attention to the ratings that I put on these cards in these videos, because they're just there to make like the card look nice aesthetically. They're not like a true representation of what the overall would be. I do think Randy would be a 99, but the rating scales always change for the show every year, so we don't really know who's a diamond and who's not going into the next game. So Randy Johnson, if I had to choose, would be a 99 overall, and I would throw his 1999 season as his hardware card. All right, the legend hitter of the week is out of the way. Now we're gonna go ahead and move over to the flashback hitter of the week. We're gonna go offensive, and last week the flashback hitter was 2016 Chris Bryant. We're actually gonna go ahead and stay in the same season. We're gonna go ahead and go 2016 All-Star Yoenis Cespedes. This was a card that I was already planning on using, but shout out to Nick Clams for the comment, of course. Yoenis Cespedes in 2016, probably the best year of his career other than his rookie season. His rookie season was really good. He could get a card for that too. That would actually be a really solid card. There might have already been a rookie Cespedes in like 16 or 17 or something. I could be wrong, but I don't know. I just get that vibe. But Yoenis Cespedes, 2016 with the New York Mets, a 280 average, 354 on base, 530 slugging, and an 884 OPS. He had 31 home runs with 86 RBIs, 25 doubles. He was an all-star, so this would be an all-star card. He won a Silver Slugger. He finished 8th place in the MVP voting, so that's actually a pretty crazy gap. You had Chris Bryant who won it, and then Cespedes in 8th. Their seasons weren't crazy different, but, you know, Chris Bryant was clearly the better player that year. But, like, from 2 to 6th, or 2 to 7th, those guys between them, pretty crazy race in the MVP. He would also, of course, have 99 arm strength, one of the best outfield arms I've ever seen personally. So Yoenis Cespedes would be a pretty all-around good card in the show 19. He would hit for contact, he would hit for power, of course, he would have great fielding, and, you know, the speed's whatever, but still, like, he didn't steal a ton of bases in 2016. Actually, I don't even know how many he stole. He stole 3 bases in 2016, so the stealing and base running aggressiveness may not be that high, but either way, I do still think Yoenis Cespedes would deserve a diamond for 2016. All-star card, he would be really good, he'd be really solid, especially if the power meta kind of comes back. He'd be a really, really good card to have in your lineup. So 2016 Flashback Cespedes would be solid. So that is the Flashback hitter of the week. Now we're going to go ahead and move over to another Flashback. We're going to go ahead and go to the pitcher for the week, and this guy is actually going to be coming out of the bullpen, but he is not going to be a closing pitcher, he is just going to be a straight up reliever. The Flashback pitcher is always the hardest card to talk about for dream cards because there's not like a ton of Flashback pitchers that would be like super high diamonds or really, really good cards for next year, but there are a couple. There's some diamonds in the rough in there, and this guy was actually a really, really interesting card to look at. We are going to be taking a look at 2011 David Robertson from the New York Yankees. I had a couple of you guys leave some comments about him, and I was like, David Robertson, what? I mean, he's fine in the show 18, like he's not amazing or anything, not that many people use him, but like he'll get the job done. When I looked at his numbers in 2011, he would be a pretty solid reliever out of the pen. Obviously, David Robertson has now signed a contract with the Philadelphia Phillies. He's no longer with the Yankees, but in 2011, he was really good. First off, he was an all-star that year. He also finished 11th in the Cy Young voting. 11th, that's pretty good for a reliever, not even a closer. 22nd in MVP for what it's worth. But taking a look at that year, 1.08 ERA in 66.2 innings pitched. That is very good. He had 100 strikeouts with 35 walks, a 1.125 whip, 5.4 hits per 9, 0.1 home runs per 9, 4.7 walks per 9, and 13.5 strikeouts per 9. He only allowed 9 runs on the season in 66 innings. That's really solid, dude. He kept guys from scoring a lot. Now, the only thing about this card, he would have pretty good, you know, hits and Ks per 9. He would have pretty good velo and break. The only thing that kind of would worry me a little bit about this card is the walks per 9, because 100 strikeouts to 35 walks, like, I feel like that's a good amount of walks in there with, you know, being a reliever. Not saying it's horrible, but I feel like the walks per 9 would probably be a little bit low. That's the only thing I think that would go against this card, but I do think he would be really solid. I do think he would be a diamond. I'm not really sure what his rating would be. I'm pretty sure this one says like 94 or something like that. But either way, he would be a really solid right-handed arm to have in your bullpen, and I would like to see this card make an appearance next year. All right, last but not least, we talked about the legend pitcher for the first card of this video. Now we're gonna go ahead and talk about the legend hitter. This is probably the most exciting card to talk about every single week. Now, Fuzzy, I saw your comment about Grady Sizemore, and yeah, he'd be a good card to have. He'd be fun, but at the end of the day, he just doesn't wow me, man. I get you got a connection to Grady Sizemore. He's your favorite player, but I don't know, man. Just like 1 to 2 good seasons, I can't justify putting him in this, man. I just pissed off so many Indians fans, and I know it. Now, the guy that we're gonna talk about in this video, shout out to Healy for leaving one of these comments. Alfonso Soriano, dude. Alfonso Soriano would be a really dope legend to have in the game next year. And I know, Healy, you're gonna hope that he would get a Chicago Cubs card, but at the end of the day, his best seasons were with the New York Yankees. I'm not saying he can't get a Cubs card. He could definitely get an impact veteran Cubs card that I think it was 2012 where he hit like 30 something home runs with the Cubs. He would be a great impact veteran card there, but his best card has got to be 2002 with the Yankees. He had a 300 average with a 332 on base percentage, a 547 slugging, and an 880 OPS, 39 home runs, 102 RBIs, 51 doubles, 209 hits, and 41 steals. He was one home run shy of being in the 40-40 club. Home runs, power, stealing, contact. He had it all this year. He was an all-star, he was a silver slugger, and he finished third in the MVP voting. Now, looking at this season straight up, this looks like an MVP season to me. I'm like 39 home runs, 41 steals, 51 doubles, a 300 average. Like what is he possibly missing that could prevent him from being an MVP? Well, Alex Rodriguez finished second with like 57 home runs, and then in first place that year, Miguel Tejada won. So he didn't win the MVP, but this is an MVP season, like no question about it. He led the league in at-bats, plate appearances, runs, hits, steals, and extra base hits. And don't even get it twisted, he could get a card from 2001 for his rookie season with the Yankees. Alfonso Soriano, you could go at any point in his career and you could justify a card for all of those years because he was a pretty consistent player. I'm not saying he was the best player ever, but he had really strong seasons with the Yankees. He had really strong seasons with the Cubs later in his career. You could go a bunch of different ways with Soriano, and I think he'd be really fun to have. He's also got a pretty unique batting stance. It's kind of like a closed stance where he's like moving the bat a lot and stuff. He'd be a really fun card to use, dude. I think he'd be just like entertaining. So like I said, 2002, I would probably give him an all-star card. He would 100% be a diamond. It would be a hardware card if he won the MVP, or they could go the 2001 route and give him a hardware card for his rookie of the year season. They could do that too, or a 2012 impact veteran card with the Cubs. You could go a bunch of different ways, but I think 2002 with the Yankees would be his best year, and that would easily be a diamond. So those are the 4 cards for this episode of MLB The Show 19 Dream Cards. Down in the comments, let me know which cards you want to see in next year's game. Make sure to go check out the previous videos of this series because the card you want might have already been discussed. But either way, guys, thank you so much for watching. Drop a thumbs up on it if you enjoy, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.